Goals are merely dreams with work boots. Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Caesar from 90 Day Fiancé and his attempt to try to find love and why he keeps getting the same results over and over again. And more importantly, why he's doomed to keep getting the same results. Now, before we get started, I'd like to ask that if you get anything from the channel, you find me mildly amusing, or you just, want to help a brother out, that you consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. It helps me out. And hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So hit that HBO special down below. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. Let's get it. We have to clear the deck and just establish what it is exactly we're talking about. Caesar finds himself in a situation where he keeps going out to these foreign countries to meet these women, and he keeps getting the same results. He keeps finding people who are using him and manipulating him and not really caring for him for who he is. He says that his stated goal is to find a woman whom he can spend the rest of his life with and have those special moments, somebody he can be romantic with, someone he can have those special quiet moments with, somebody he can share his life with. The truth of the matter is that Caesar will never find those things as long as he proceeds down the same path that he's been proceeding on and he continues to do the things he's been doing. There's a huge difference between having a goal and having a dream. A dream is something that you sit and it's very ethereal. You can sit there and you want these things and you hope for these things, and it'd be so great if I had this or I had that, if I had a big house, a big car, so on and so forth. It'd be so great if I had money. And you don't do anything else about getting that dream or in furtherance of that dream. A goal is when you start to set up things that you can do, processes you can take in order for you to achieve that goal. In this instance, Caesar said that his goal was to find a woman who he could be in love with. If we really take a step back and look at what he's doing, he isn't doing anything to progress or move into that direction. Caesar is still finding himself in a situation where he's chasing after people based on how they look and not what they can contribute to him or how they connect with him on any kind of level. It's actually kind of the definition of insanity situation. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing repeatedly and expect a different outcome every time you do it. He expects something different to happen when he chases after these young ladies based on how they look and how they treat him and how they nicely talk to him and all that. He expects them to conform to the thing that he wants. It's almost like there's an entitlement in this because he expects these women to like him because he's a nice guy, quote unquote. He thinks that as long as I wear the nice guy garb, and I'm entitled to have the type of women that I want. I'm entitled to have a very attractive woman because I'm a nice person and I'll do what she wants and I can help her out and I care about her. And if she's good looking and she's a prize, then I'm going to really cherish her. The problem is, if anybody gives you something that you haven't worked for and earned, you will never appreciate it. In that sense, if Caesar doesn't do the necessary work for him to prepare himself for the type of relationship that he claims to want, he will never appreciate the person he's in a relationship with. And I even beg to say that he won't even recognize the person who could give him the very thing that he wants. If you really look at the situation that he finds himself in, we look at the three women that he selected. The first date he went on, lovely lady, but she is not right for Caesar. Why is she not right for Caesar? Because this woman is very direct and straightforward. She will destroy Caesar because she's so straightforward, so upfront, that Caesar can't handle somebody that straightforward. Not to mention, I don't really see where she's connecting with Caesar on any type of level. Like, they don't have anywhere where they're kind of meeting. They don't have anything in common. They don't have anything really to talk about. The second young lady he went out with, she's a little on the tall side for Caesar. I will give you that. Very attractive though. She is a very attractive woman. And Caesar should have been honored to be out on a day with her to enjoy her company. She was very polite to him. She was very nice. She was very cordial. They had what seemed like a great conversation. They had things in common. She does nails, he does nails. Hey, think of the big picture. If you guys get along, one of the goals that you could have is, this is somebody whom you could also pair yourself with her and move forward in a professional manner because she's into the same business you're in. This is the type of woman that you could actually build something with. The third young lady that he went out with, and this is the person that I suspected he's actually going to pick. She's a very attractive young lady. She's physically fit. And in fairness, even though I think the second young lady was prettier in the face, the third young lady has a better figure because she's a fitness professional. The connection that Caesar had with her is very tenuous. And to be honest with you, this is the person that I think Caesar's going to pick. And which is crazy to me. Because with the second young lady, she seemed like she was actually genuinely interested in Caesar from the beginning. Like she was at least curious about him. And I'm not saying she's in love with him or none of that craziness because they don't know each other. But she did seem like she was at least open to the idea of having a conversation with him and dealing with him. The third young lady, she couldn't even talk to him. The two of them couldn't even have a conversation. Like for instance, when she was out at the park and she said, "Oh, this is a Cossack." And then, it's like a Viking. And then Caesar didn't understand that she was actually saying Viking. And to be honest with you, I didn't understand that she was actually saying Cossack, which is how we would term it here in America. That's how I would say it. I would call him a Cossack as opposed to a Viking, as she referred to him. I guess they would be similar, but they're not the same thing. Caesar, in the genius that he was, he says, "Oh, a vegan? Oh, a vegan, he didn't eat meat? Wow. He looks kind of beefy for a guy that only eats vegetables." Which is insane to me. But aside from the fact that he made the mistake of not being able to understand what she was talking about, Caesar didn't even take the opportunity to actually try to figure out what she was talking about. And that's why I think that he fails. Because I'm so connected to her. We had such a love connection. How? You didn't even care what she was talking about, Mr. I want to talk about romance and somebody I can spend my life with. How can you find out what her goals, motivation, her hopes, her dreams are if you can't even have a conversation with her? The only thing that she did do that the other two young ladies didn't do was that seemed like she was more open to physical touch and physical affection. She was more willing to hold his hand. She was more willing to let him put his arm around her. That kind of thing. Now, what that tells me is that Caesar is too focused on the physical aspect of the relationship. So ultimately, Caesar's goal isn't to have somebody who you can be romantic with and you can share your life with. You're looking for somebody who can share your bed. And that's a completely different situation. And because you're looking for somebody who is going to just fill that one position, then I guess it doesn't matter if you talk to him. It doesn't matter if you guys come to a meeting of the minds or an understanding. Now, there's two things that I will say about that. The first thing is this. One, you want to have goals that match with each other. You want to make sure that your goals are actually commensurate with one another, what your stated goal is, and the methodology that you take to try to reach that goal. You want to make sure they match. So in other words, if Caesar is saying that he wants somebody who he can connect with, who he can have a romantic, deep emotional bond with, then you want to have somebody who doesn't necessarily appeal to you, strictly on a physical level and allows you to move forward in a physical level, but you want to have somebody who you can actually sit down and have a conversation with. Now, I don't care how you throw it or how you catch it. At the end of the day, you can only play certain bedroom games for so long. Eventually, you're going to have a conversation. And that's where Caesar's kind of lacking. The second thing that I would say about that, in the sexual marketplace, you have to be very careful about dating somebody or trying to create a long-lasting relationship with somebody who makes themselves too available physically too quickly. In Caesar's case, the whole reason why he's going to pick number 3, Alana, is because she seems like she's going to be available to him faster physically. Now, I will say this. Just because it's quick doesn't mean it's good. Just because you can get it fast doesn't mean it's going to be better. At the end of the day, the deepest connection you can have on a physical level will come from people that you can actually talk to and relate to, and people that you can tell your hopes, your dreams to. And on a more physical level, you can tell them what your fantasies are, what you're really into. You can't do that with somebody that you don't have a connection with. Now, you can do the standard. Some people have better standards or better basics than other people, and the basic will be like, wow, that's amazing, that's incredible. But the truth of the matter is, for that person, it won't be amazing and incredible. This is just what they do for this particular type situation. It's amazing for you. For me, it's Monday. Now, as I mentioned earlier, goals are dreams with work boots. In order for you to get your goals or reach your goals, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to do the things that are necessary in order for you to be successful. Sometimes there are things that you don't want to do, but it's required for you to do those things. In our society, as I mentioned before in other videos, in our society, we are so focused on winning and what happens when you win. We very rarely focus on what is necessary for you to get to the point and the work that's required for you to get to the point where you're actually winning. If you want to have a long-term romantic relationship with somebody, you have to do the work. You have to prepare yourself for that situation. You can't just expect it to happen because you want it and because you're a nice person. And in Caesar's case, I think that that's exactly what it is. He expects to have a long-term relationship because he comes off mild-mannered and sensitive. The truth of the matter is, bro, deserves got nothing to do with it. You can think that you deserve to have a relationship, but you don't deserve to have a relationship, because that will require somebody else to fall into your servitude and for somebody else to give up on their hopes and dreams in order to make you happy. And that's not required by anybody. So what you must do is you must create a situation and a scenario and a circumstance where you are the prize. You are the thing that will couple with somebody else, and they will see you as someone who adds to their life and contributes to their situation and their scenario and everything that's about them and the goals that they want to achieve for themselves, whether it's getting married, whether it's having a family, whether it's going home that night, whatever it is. You want to be the solution to their problem. And the only way you can reach that goal is if you take time out to get to know what it is you want and you start to become comfortable with yourself. In Caesar's case, he was looking at the three guys that he was in the limo with, and he felt that they were competition and he couldn't overcome them. The truth of the matter is, dude, you don't have to have a fancy car. You don't have to have a big time job. You don't have to have a multi-million-dollar home in order for you to find somebody who's attracted to you. There is a guy sitting in a multi-million-dollar home with $100,000 foreign sitting in front of the house and couldn't find a date to save his life. But at the same time, there's a guy who's down there working at the convenience store without a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of, and he's getting phone numbers left and right. He's talking to women like crazy, and women are all about him. It's not because he looks so good and the women are irresistible. He's irresistible to women. The truth of the matter is that he knows what he wants, and he has that confidence. That's all confidence it comes down to in some cases. It's just the fact that I'm comfortable with myself. I can walk into a room and I'm fine walking out of that room by myself. I'm fine with sitting in a room by myself. You know why? Because I like me. And that's what it has to come down to. If you want to have people attracted to you, you have to like you. You can't expect other people to like you more than you like you. You with you all the time. You know you better than anybody else could know you. So therefore, if you don't like you, and I'm sitting there and he seems like an interesting person. I should get to know this person. And then you don't like the person that you are, then you know you better than I am, and I want to take references from the person who knows you best. So with him, I would suggest that he take time to get to know himself, get to like yourself, figure out what it is that you have to offer other people, and then have those things shine through. Figure out what doesn't add to your life. Then you avoid those things. And then once you figure all that out, then you start taking chances and saying, this is the type of person I want to have. This is the type of relationship I want to have. What kind of person can I get to fill the role for this particular type of relationship? If it's a job interview, you want the qualifications of the particular position you're trying to fill. If you want to have that connection with somebody, you want to get married, and so you say, but you genuinely want that, then you want to find somebody who you connect with, because at the end of the day, marriage is not the finish line, but marriage is merely the start of the race. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life.